handling. Yeah, exception handling, the chapter number 7, exception handling. Okay, so we will see what is an exception basically, what is an error basically, what are the different ways to handle the errors. Okay, and also we see how to create your own user defined exceptions. Okay, so those things we will see today. Regarding this, I am sharing my slide. Is my slide visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here is basically hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Is my voice clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So an error is basically what? Anything which is not appropriate to your program. That is an error basically. So if you will see your source code over here, I'm starting a new console application, or I will open the existing console application. Look at this. This is your main function, something like that. Okay. So while writing the program, if anything which is not follows the normal rules of writing the program is an error basically. So suppose int x equal to 10. This is there is no error over here. But if I'll remove the semicolon, you will get an error. You'll get an error over here. You see the red lines over here. Okay. So this is a runtime error. Sorry, compile time error. This kind of error is known as what? Compile time. What happens in case of .NET? While writing the program, at each and every line, the syntax has been checked whether the line of code contains any error or not. So now you are removing a semicolon. As a result, you are getting what? You are getting errors. So this is an error basically, which does not follow the normal flow of a program. So that is an error. So now what is an exception basically? Okay. Exception is basically what? The error that occurs during the program run, only program run. Error can be at compile time over here. Error can be at runtime over here while running the program. Okay. But any error which is visible or which appears during the program run is known as an exception. Okay. So this is the difference between an error and exception. Error can be at compile time or at runtime, but the runtime errors are known as what? Exceptions. Okay. Now, if you'll see the errors, before coming to the exceptions, if you'll see the errors, errors can be of how many types? How many types of errors are there? This thing was in the Java programming also. Errors can be of two types. The first one is what?
Compile time.
Syntax.
Syntax. Oh.
No. Compile time and runtime errors are there, but the compile time errors are basically of two types. One is syntactical. Okay. Second one is the semantical errors. Okay. So two types of errors basically. One is the syntactical errors. Okay. And another one is the semantical errors. So what is syntactical errors? The errors which related to the syntax of a program. For example, it should be int x. I cannot write it down x equal to 10 because I am missing the syntax over here. So I have to write int x 10 mark or the semicolon. Okay. So syntactical error is basically, so for example, one of the missing semicolon. Okay. Any error which is related to the syntax. Remember one thing, errors always occurs at the compile time. Okay. or at runtime. Okay, but during the compilation time of errors can be syntactical or semantical. Okay, what is syntactical? You are missing semicolon. Okay, you are missing semicolon, and say suppose you are missing a bracket over here. You see, you are getting the error. So this is basically syntactical because you are not following the syntax defined by your .NET framework. Okay, so if you not follow the syntax defined by your .NET framework, then you will get some kind of error. That error is called what? Syntactical error. But apart from that, there is another type of error that is called semantical errors. So what is semantical errors? The semantical errors is basically the error, okay, which is related to the logic, okay, but not any kind of syntax. Okay, logical error means basically the errors which is related to the logic. So in that case, what happens if you are writing a program and have some logical errors or semantical errors, then still your program will run. Okay, still your program will run and your program will be executed successfully. Everything will be fine, but your program is not logically correct. Not logically correct. What is a logical error? You see, I'll just give you one example, the logical errors. Okay. So for example, I want to calculate, so suppose factorial of 5. Factorial of 5. So what is a factorial? What is a factorial? What is a factorial of 5? Who will say?
120.
120. So what is a factorial basically? So if you want to calculate the factorial of any number, then you start multiplying like this: 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So this is basically factorial of a number. You start multiplying all the numbers 2 up to 1. So that is the factorial of a number. So in this case, so factorial of 5 is 120. I want to calculate the factorial of a number. Okay. So you already know how to calculate factorial of a number. There is a loop and you will use that loop to multiply the thing. Okay. I'll just write the program. Factorial of a number. Int a equal to 5. Okay. Look at the logical errors over here. For int I equal to 1. Okay. I less than equal to 5. I plus plus. And there will be another variable int fact equal to 1. Okay. Fact equal to fact multiplication of I. Okay. So initially the value of I is 1. Okay. The value of I is 1. 1. What is factorial? The fact value? That is 1. 1 into 1, 1. Next time the value of I is 2. 1 into 2, this is 2. Next time the value of I is what? 3. Then 2 into 3 is 6. Okay. Next time the value of I is what? 4. Then 6 into 4, 24. Then next time the value of I becomes 5. Okay. So 24 into 5, that is 120. So if we'll provide the output over here, console.writeLine, factorial of Which one is what? That is fact. So this thing, what you are getting the output, you are getting the output what? Factorial of 5 is 120. So you'll get this output. So this is a simple program and having no errors. Now I will write the same program with some logical errors. Okay, look at this. Look at this. So here also it will calculate the factorial. No error. If you run it, you will not get any error and it will calculate factorial of 5. But it only calculate factorial of 5, not even 6. So if I want to do the factorial of 6, then I have to declare one more variable, that is f, which is not practically feasible. If I will declare a factorial of 25, then I have 25 alphabets. If tomorrow I will declare factorial of, say, suppose 1 lakh, then what you will do? How many variables you will declare? It is not possible, isn't it? So this kind of error is called what? Logical error. This is a logical error, basically. This is not syntactical error. This is semantical error. Though it will work perfectly fine, but this kind of error is what? Semantical errors. Okay, so now are you clear about the what is semantical or what is syntactical errors? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but now this syntactical, whether it is syntactical, whether it is semantical, this happens during the compilation time. However, there are some kind of errors which happens or which occurs during the program run. So that kind of error is known as what? Exception. I'll just tell you one exception. Int a, comma b, comma c. Okay. A equal to system dot readline. So console dot readline, not system. Console dot readline. It should be converted to the integer. Convert that to int32. Okay. So I'm asking the user to enter a number. Okay. So then I'm taking a number from the user. Similarly, I'm taking another number from the user. Okay. Then what I'm doing, C equal to, I'm writing A plus B. Okay. Console.writeLine. Addition is C. Okay. Now console.readline. Okay. So this thing is clear. I'm running this program. Okay. Enter a number. Enter a number. I'm entering 12. Enter a number 13. Addition is 25. It is working perfectly fine. Now I'll just run the same program. Enter a number 12. Okay. Enter a number 12. Enter another number. I will enter. Look at this. What happens? Immediately your program is hanged. It was asking a number, but I have entered some string. So this kind of error is known as what? Runtime error or exceptions. So this chapter is basically deals with how to handle such kind of exceptions. Okay. So basically, what is an exception? An exception is a problem that arises during the execution of a program. Remember this thing, during the execution of a program. Okay. And exceptions provide a way to transfer control from one part of the program to another part of the program. What does it mean? In case of any exception happens in this line, instead of hanging this program over here, it should display appropriate message to the user. Okay, it should display an appropriate message to the user, and the normal program flow should be goes up, isn't it? So the program should not be interrupted, rather it should display an error message. Okay. So now there are 4 keywords used over here in the exception handling. That is the try, catch, finally, and throw. So these are the 4 keywords are used to handle any kind of exceptions or the errors that happens during the program run of .NET Framework programs. Okay. So if you are running a .NET Framework program, so during the run, these 4 keywords are used to handle exceptions. Okay. So what is a try block? So basically a try block. Okay, before coming to the try block, I'll just show you how to handle this kind of exception. Okay. So you already know that if the user enters over here, either here or here, if the user enter a string, then you may get some kind of error. Okay. So in order to solve that, what I will do, I will write a try block over here. You see what I am doing. Then catch block. Okay. Okay. Now look at this. I'm entering 12. Okay. Enter another number. I'm entering a string. Okay. So what is happening? you are not getting any kind of error over here. You are not getting any kind of error over here. Rather, your program is closed. And if you want to show this message, I am just putting a console.readline statement over here. You see, well, and invalid number entered. Okay. So user will be able to understand, okay, so I have entered some wrong values, that is why I'm getting some kind of error. So in this way, you can handle or you can track your errors or the exceptions. Okay. So I have used what? The try block. So what is a try block is basically, it is a block under which all your source code should be inserted, which expected to throw some kind of errors or exceptions at the runtime. If you think if your source code will display some kind of runtime error during the program run, then the try block will help you. So you should put those source code in the try block. Am I clear to all of you? So what is a try block basically? A try block identifies a block of code for which particular exception is activated. It is followed by one or more catch block. So the try block is basically, if you think your source code may throw some kind of runtime error during the program run, then it should be placed within the try block. Okay, then the system will try or the system will execute all the lines within the try block. So in case of any error happens over there, then what will happen? An error object is created. Okay, and that error object has been thrown to the catch block. And within the catch block, you have to display an appropriate message stating, yes, my program has some errors. So what benefit you will get out of it? So instead of your program is getting hanged, the user should be able to get some error message. Now just think of a situation. You have developed a software for a client. You have developed a software for a client. And the client is using that software for suppose so many days. Okay. And the software is all about, so basically like a online sales module where the sales entries will be entered. Okay. Now the customer was dealing with, say, suppose crores of rupees, and he or she is entering some data into the software. Okay, and your software supports a maximum of, say, suppose 100 crores or 50 crores of rupees, not beyond that. But unfortunately, or fortunately, you can say, the customer is earning more than 50 crores a month. So now he is trying to enter the, say, suppose 100 crores or 200 crores into that software, and immediately your software is collapsed and your software is closed, since your software is not supporting any figure above the 50 crores. Do you like to develop a such kind of software where the software will be closed automatically without showing any reason or without showing any kind of message? Obviously not. You will not develop a such kind of software, and none of the client will be like to take those kind of softwares for their functionalities, isn't it? So error handling is really required. So in case of error handling, what you will do, you have to put those source code which supposed to display some kind of errors in the try block. Okay, then there will be a catch block. So in case of any error is there, then an object of type error is created, an object of type exception is created, you can say, and that object is thrown, which will be taken care by the catch block. Okay, and in the catch block you will be displaying an appropriate message. Okay, so that the user will be understand, like, yes, so the software shows some kind of error, then he or she can easily communicate to the developers, okay, I got this kind of error, can you please solve it? Okay, so later on the developer will be able to solve the issues. The developer can only solve the issues if he or she is able to see the error, what error it is showing. But if your software will be closed automatically without showing any kind of errors, then even the developer will not be able to understand like why the software is getting crashed or why the software is getting closed without showing any error. Are you getting my point? Why the exception handling is required in the program? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now the try block we have seen. Similarly, there is a catch block. A program catches an exception with an exception handler at the place. So what is an exception handler? An exception handler is basically an object of an exception class. An object of the exception class which is used to store the concerned exception. Okay. Now there is another block that is called what? Finally. Finally is a block which is always written. Sorry. Finally is a block which is already always written at the end of the try catch block over here. Finally. Okay. The finally block always written below the catch block. So what is the use of this finally block? The use of this finally block is basically in case of any error occurs, okay, the program flow will jump from try to catch and it will execute this line. Okay. Then after that, whatever it is written within the finally block, that will be executed if the error occurs. Okay. So if the error occurs here, the program flow jumps to the catch block. After executing the catch block, the lines which is written within the finally block, that will be also be executed. Fine. This is case 1. Case 2 is basically suppose there is no error at all. Still the program flow will come directly to the finally block and it will be executed. So finally block codes are the codes which will be executed irrespective of any errors. Even if the errors not occurred or if the errors occur, the contents within the finally block will be always executed. Am I clear to all of you? Then the question arises, what is the use of this finally block? What is the use of this finally block? Why I should keep the finally block? Now you just think of a situation. You are opening a file over here. Opening a file. Okay. Then after that, opening the file, the moment you are trying to write to the file, okay, you come to know that that file is a read-only file. You open the file over here, fine. But now you are writing to that file which is read-only. So your program will not be able to write to the file. As a result, an exception occurs over here. Okay. And the control will be jumped to the catch block. This will be printed. Okay. So now in the absence of finally block, what will happen? The rest of the code will be executed. Fine. But the file will be remained open. Are you getting my point or not? The file will be remained open. You are unable to read. So getting an exception, your control jump to the catch block. It will display the error message. Then you will come to execute this kind of lines, all these lines. Okay. But now what happens? Your file will be remain open. So that has to be closed. Okay. So that can be closed within the finally block. Close the file here. Okay. So what is the use of the finally block? The finally block is used to regain any resources which has been used by the try block. Okay. So any resource which is being used by the try block, the finally block will release those resources. Are you getting my point? What is the use of the finally block?
Yes, sir.
Then next is the throw. It is another keyword which is used to throw the user defined exceptions. Okay. So now there will be some points. It is required that you will create your own exceptions and you will throw your exceptions. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
So this is basically the basics of the this thing exceptions. So in the next class, we will see how to create your own exceptions or exception classes. Okay, how to use the multiple try catch block. What are all these classes is meaning of all these classes, that we'll also discuss in the next class. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask me any questions. Let me download the attendance. Okay, आज के लिए इतना ही. All of you can exit right now.